Approximately 95,000 Americans die each year of alcohol-related causes. And out of those, 68,000 are men and 27,000 are women. As a female, I did not realize that my alcohol consumption was linked to a higher risk of breast cancer, which is terrifying. Why do we keep consuming something that is so deadly to us, so detrimental, and causes so much drama in our lives? It all starts at a younger age for most of us, especially in high school with all the peer pressure that's happening. I was surrounded by so much peer pressure, lived in a small town. What better to do than go around drinking, driving around drinking, going for the mountains drinking, bonfires drinking, friends' houses drinking. It literally was all about drinking. Winning sports events, drinking, birthday parties, drinking, celebrating, everything was just drinking, drinking, drinking. And when I was 15, when I went to a graduation party, what was everybody doing? Drinking. What was it? Megan, come try this. Megan, come try this. 6 shots later of tequila and vodka, I was passed out almost. My friend and I were just, 15-year-old girls just giggling, laughing, thinking that it was the funnest time ever. 3 o'clock rolls around, I get home, start puking, and mom comes home from work. She gets really pissed off at me, and my dad assumes that I need to go to rehab. I was like, wow, this was my first time drinking. Hello, I don't need to go to rehab. I was really shocked. That started my so-called fun because I had a lot of fun. That peer pressure is so strong at that age, and you just want to fit in and be liked. Most of us have started at middle school, early high school drinking. From the comments that I've gotten, 14 is a very common age. Peer pressure doesn't just stop in high school. It continues on to college and young adulthood. In college, coming from a small town, going to a D1 university, completely different environment. I got on the floor with a bunch of other rowdy girls. We all fit in we were like best friends from the moment we met. And it was, some of us could handle our liquor and be on honor roll. Some of us, like me, however, got on academic probation because we were drinking too much, weren't showing up to class, failing our classes. Come out, come out. It was, frat parties. It was dorm room parties. I got rode up twice in one night. I had to go to an alcoholic class. I kind of laughed at it then. I was 18 when that happened. It was supposed to open my eyes, but nope, continued drinking. I actually had to leave college early and then go to work, and everybody, turning 21. It's all about the party. Everybody wants to just what are you doing? What are we drinking? Where are we, just constant. I, again, had so much fun drinking that I just continued finding the like-minded people that liked to drink. And it was just all revolved around drinking, showing up to work super hungover, getting sent home because I was too hungover. It didn't stop until I finally pulled the plug for myself. Adulthood, the peer pressure is still there. You came into this environment with everybody drinking and you made friends because of drinking, and then when you choose not to drink, people are questioning you, why are you not drinking? Or the stupid freaking comments you're not drinking, it's a bad thing. No, it's not a bad thing. I don't want to drink. A lot of people probably thought this was one big joke, but I have learned from quitting drinking that it's not good for me, it's not good for my family, and I feel so much better without it. So just because I quit drinking, the peer pressure is still there. We can't go out and have fun because, you're not drinking anymore. Oh, I'm sorry. I want to do better for my life, and I can find other things to go out and do. You can invite me for hikes, walks, let's go work out. It's not socially acceptable for people to do heroin. It's not socially acceptable for people to do meth, but it's socially acceptable to go get wasted with your friends. And peer pressure is a real bitch. I want you to take a minute, pause this video, realize that I'm not here to demonize anybody. I'm not judging anybody. I've literally been in most of your shoes. I am just here to give you a different perspective of how life can be without alcohol. And I want you to comment and tell me how you're getting help, how you got help, and what else you maybe need help with. Your story really helps others push through as well. The reason I drink and I hear a lot of other people drinking is because they need to relax. They need to find comfort in something. It's coming home from work, having a bad day, and you need to relax because you don't know how else to relax yourself. It took me a while to figure out how to relax and find different coping mechanisms instead of falling back on alcohol. Come home, pour a glass of wine, sit on the couch and thinking that that is going to just relax us. I'd come home, I'd see the laundry piled up, thought I had to drink wine to get through that, because if I didn't have wine, then the laundry wasn't gonna get done. If I didn't have wine, the Christmas presents weren't gonna get wrapped. I had to have a bottle of wine for everything that I did. If I was going to a friend's house, bring wine. Going out to dinner, let's have a glass of wine first. Or, going to big social events, gotta take a few shots first because I gotta get through that, especially if they were new places and I felt super uncomfortable. Let's stop and grab a bottle and, Megan needs to take a swig out of it first because I gotta calm myself. I need to relax. I need to just get in the mode to, have fun. And that's, where I think we fall into that trap is we rely on alcohol way too much. It just becomes a part of who we are when really it just doesn't help us relax. It just is a quick relaxation that eventually cycles into stress because then you start feeling like crap. Some of us have really stressful jobs. We see a lot, especially people in like medical fields, law enforcement, military, high stress desk jobs. And then we come home because we have to relax or unwind from what we saw, what we heard, what we had to deal with. But instead of using alcohol to relax, we could easily just take a walk. We could exercise for, an hour. We could skip happy hour and actually, work out for an hour. And then you'd actually end up feeling much better. Being more present with your children instead of sitting on the couch, ignoring them and just not being present with them because you're too focused on your alcohol. Another reason that I noticed that I was drinking, and I've heard other people mention, is trauma. Past trauma, current trauma. Are we dealing with trauma? Doesn't matter how small the trauma is trauma, and we try to cover it up with alcohol, so we just shove it further down and don't deal with it. In my situation, my trauma happened last year, and I wasn't dealing with it because I was just literally drinking to escape it. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to talk about it. I just wanted to cover it up, mask it, brush it under the rug. I didn't want to feel those feels. And since I quit drinking, even my therapist is like, I can refer you out to somebody else now because I've jumped leaps and bounds since quitting drinking. I've dealt with my emotions. I've felt the feels. I've just overcome so much. It's amazing how once you quit masking your pain and you actually face it and you feel the feels, you can actually overcome it. My story is a story for a different day, and a lot of you would probably relate. A lot of us have trauma. It doesn't matter. It's grief, it's harassment. We all have our own ways that we deal. And using alcohol to just never get over it, you're never gonna get over it. You have to face it head on and not put the mask on and just live a, quote, happy life, but really you're dying inside. You're faking it. Cover up, this like deep trauma, and you don't want to deal with it. And unfortunately, a lot of us don't have the support to push us to take those steps, to quit drinking, to face that trauma. Those traumas can cause so much depression, so much anxiety, and alcohol doesn't help. It actually causes more depression and anxiety. Avoiding dealing with an issue and just covering it up with alcohol, you're not gonna get anywhere in life. You're just gonna keep going back through that cycle, and we want you to get better. We want you to face it. I want you to face it. I feel so much better. I don't have this like weight on me anymore. And yeah, some things I still struggle with, but I don't run to the bottle anymore because being drunk heightens your emotions. Putting down the bottle, facing what has been going on in my head and how I'm feeling has definitely been easier to overcome sober than covering it up with alcohol. If you have horrible post-traumatic stress of some sort, just like my husband, he came home, I wasn't with him when he came home from Iraq, but I met him shortly after he came home from Iraq. And then he went to Afghanistan a year later. He came home. Every time he would drink, I mean, he would, drink to like ease his, to comfort himself, to, cover up that like trauma that's running through his head. And then he'd start watching things and it would spike, and then he, would be drunk and all these emotions would start coming out. He never faced them sober, getting buried. Night, he'd wake up crying with nightmares, sleeping next to him sometimes, like when he's flinching. It was terrifying. I'm small. When he got to that point where the alcohol affected him that much, I was terrified. I knew he wouldn't actually hurt me, but he wasn't himself. It was probably, it was one of the most terrifying like parts of my life. We made it through it. I literally said, I can't do this if you're gonna keep drinking like this. And fast forward several years later, he actually talks about those experiences now sober, because before he couldn't talk about them. He had to use alcohol to talk about them, and then he didn't know that he was talking about them, and that doesn't heal anybody. You have to face it head on. Alcohol's not gonna let you face it. You're just gonna keep hiding it. And now he's way more open to talking about it, and he'll tell anybody, or not anybody, but he will talk, his stories and bring it up more now. And I think that's a lot of where the healing starts, is when you can actually start fully feeling it and being able to express yourself in a sober way versus hiding it with alcohol. Another reason is I drink out of habit. My habit went into abuse. It went into, maybe it was alcohol abuse, maybe it was alcohol addiction. Everybody's going to narrow it down to their own. In the end all, it is a habit. We are stuck in a habit of pouring ourselves a drink. That's what you do when you get home from work. That's what you do when you go out with your friends. That's what you do, for events. It's literally a habit. And how do you break a habit? You know nothing else besides opening a bottle. Is it wine? Is it hard alcohol? Do you, come home, first thing you do is grab a glass, put some ice in it, dump the alcohol in there, go sit down in front of the TV? That's a habit. And then we continue our daily routine, and then it becomes a habit, and then we end up abusing the alcohol, or we get addicted to it. In our brains, we just don't know how to break that habit and become unaddicted from it. It's so hard to break any habit. It's alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be cigarettes, it could be eating bad. Literally, you have to put the work in and start. What I did is start shifting what I was drinking. Instead of pouring wine or alcohol of some sort into a glass, I started pouring, some type of bubbly water into it. And it's so sad, because most of our society, I know when people that I grew up with that were smoking, they said that this was the habit, like bringing something to their mouth. So some of them would start chewing gum instead. For me, it definitely was a habit. I didn't know anything else. I would get bored. I didn't know what to do with my boredom, so why not drink? What do you do when you want to watch a movie at night? You make some popcorn and pour a drink. You go outside, you watch the sunset. What do you have to have in your hand when you go watch the sunset? You have to have a drink. It's your best friend. You don't want to get rid of your best friend. And you're just going, even though that best friend might be bad for you, you're still gonna, still gonna be right next to your side, in your hand, and by you through your life until you realize that this is a habit that I just need to break. How do I do it? That is your mindset and how you want to actually approach it. But you can do it. You can break a habit. It ended up being a habit that has been super detrimental to your health, your mental health, your physical health, your gut health, your family life, your job, your overall well-being. It has that one habit stemming from peer pressure has created all of these issues for you, and you're so scared of letting something go because that's all you know. We're not here, I'm not here, nobody's here to judge you for being sober. We just know how we feel since we put the bottle down and can see things in a clearer view. We don't have a foggy brain anymore. We have the energy. We just have a different perspective of life, and sharing how we feel and how we have, overcome that bad habit and not letting peer pressure get to us. It's a whole new life. It is really amazing to feel amazing. It's amazing to feel amazing. And, some people say sober is the new sexy, just like, being strong is sexy. If this habit is more of a pure addiction, then I highly advise you to talk to a friend, talk to a family, talk to somebody that can help you. Talk to your kids, ask them how they feel about it. They might tell you the truth, and that might be a slap to your face, and that might be your biggest wake-up call ever. These are just a few of the reasons we drink. And I highly suggest taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture and realizing that there is so much more to life than drowning our sorrows in alcohol.